Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deconstructing Leftists. This is John Butero, and who exactly am I? I'm just a patriotic American truck driver who is doing my little part to try to do what I can to save America and also to stand up for Jesus Christ. And so that means I am coming against leftists because they are the enemies of everything that's good and decent about America. They are standing up for every wicked kind of thing you can imagine. And they are also standing against God in most cases, whether they're even claiming they are or not. They're doing it by the things that they stand for, because you can't be a Christian and stand up for a lot of the things that the progressives stand up for, because it's anathema to the faith. Now, by the grace of God, America has at least gone through a time where that we have some hope that things could get better. We were going through a time back in 2016 where it was one of the most dire situations we have ever faced. We were facing the possibility of Hillary Clinton becoming president of the United States, one of the most corrupt women in this country, who's married to the most corrupt former president that we have ever had. And if she had won, you wouldn't recognize America. She would have completely destroyed this country. Just through her court appointments, she would have destroyed this country. But thankfully, the Lord God raised up not a perfect man, but a man to step into the office of president, stop Hillary Clinton, and preserve our country. And of course, that is President Donald Trump, a man that I think has turned out to be one of the best presidents that this country has ever had. And if he had not become president, I hate to think of what America would be like today. But today I want to talk about a woman who, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't even have this YouTube channel, because it was because of her program, Jezebel Vibes, that I felt the need to jump in and start standing up for Jesus, because she is one of those deconstructionists who was doing one program after another attacking Jesus. She was attacking God. She spent a whole year making videos doing nothing more than saying, like, God's not good. God, Adam and Eve situation was a setup, and, just going through all these different stories in the Bible and attacking God. And I felt the need to do a video to oppose her, or to start doing videos to oppose her, and to also oppose the deconstruction movement, something I'd never heard of, and I might not have ever heard of if it wasn't for Kristie Burke. I assume that what happened was that in her algorithms, it started going towards Christians, and she probably had it set up to where one of the groups she wanted to target was Christians, because I think that she, in her own way, thought that if Christians only understood what the Bible really taught, we'd all turn away from God like she did. Of course, that's very delusional, and it's also making assumptions that Christians don't know their Bible. But that's what she was doing. And then later on, she turned to politics, spent a year doing that. She started protesting, doing silly things like chalking sidewalks and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to do an update on Kristie Burke, the woman that I am now calling the chalk warrior, because she goes around chalking sidewalks. This is a woman in her 30s playing with chalk on the sidewalks and calling that a protest. And she actually believes she has a constitutional right to vandalize the sidewalks, and thinks that nobody should be able to do anything about it. But she's a very delusional woman. And I want to do an update on some of the things that I've seen that she's doing today. And but before we do get into the actual video, I created a song that is a parody song called Chalk Warrior, the Ballad of Kristie Burke. And I did just a short clip of that song that I'm going to be using as a theme song. So I'm going to try to wedge that in here before we get into the actual message. So stand by for that.
In a town where the streets are drawn, Kristie Burke takes a stand. With a chalk in hand, she dares to paint, hoping to change the land. Change the land. She draws a flag, a symbol of hope, but the message gets lost in the noise, till the day she finds her voice and her chalk becomes her choice. Fighting for what's right in the sun and rain, leaving a legacy in every lane. Chalk warrior drawing a new day, making dreams come true day by day.
I promised you all an update on Kristie Burke, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. What is Kristie Burke up to now? Again, she started out attacking the Lord. Then she spent a year doing political stuff, getting herself kicked out of a town hall meeting, thinking that she's got a constitutional right to be there and speak whatever she wants and be disruptive, which she does not. Then she started chalking the sidewalks as a type of protest, getting other people involved in her protest, chalking the sidewalk over close to where her congresswoman has an office at. And she happens to be in Tennessee District 1. The person that she is wanting, or let me tell you what she's actually trying to do. She's actually looking at running for Congress, and she wants to challenge her representative of Congress, who is Diana Harshbarger, or Bogger or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not in her district. Now, I do know some people that live in Tennessee 1 district. I know a pastor who lives in that area of Tennessee, and it would be his congresswoman. But Kristie Burke is planning to challenge her now because she is unhappy with the way that she's been representing the district. Now, Kristie Burke has some crazy ideas about what democracy means. She thinks that democracy means that she and anybody in that district, no matter how small of a group they represent, has a right to demand their way from their member of Congress, to go in there and, cause a ruckus at town hall meetings and just do whatever she wants to do and get her way. The thing that she doesn't understand is we're a representative republic. And that means that the people in the district choose one person to represent them. And that person is, if it was a Democrat, then we know that if you elect a Democrat, you're getting a progressive. If it's a Republican, we know that we're getting a conservative, or at least they should be. We know that there's been wishy-washy moderates, but nevertheless, that's what you would expect. And in the last election, I decided to go back and check to see who Diana Harshbarger's last opponent was and what the margin of victory was. Was it a close election or what? Her key opponent was somebody named Kevin Jenkins, who ran as the Democrat in that district. And according to the final results, Diana Harshbarger got 78.1% of the vote in Tennessee District 1 to Kevin Jenkins' 19.4%. So that is pretty convincing. It's pretty overwhelming. It means that the people in that district wanted somebody to represent them who was conservative and who would vote conservative. That's democracy, Kristi. The majority get their way. She seems to have this idea that she gets her way no matter who wins. And Diana Harshbarger, if she got 78.1% and to 19.4%, that means that district does not want people voting as a progressive. They don't want somebody who will be wishy-washy and who will represent the views of a Kristie Burke. If they did want that, they would have voted for Kevin Jenkins. But again, Kristie Burke does not seem to understand this very simple thing about our political system. And she is so delusional that even with this huge margin of a victory for their current congresswoman, she thinks that she's really in the majority, but people just didn't turn out to vote in large enough numbers. Now, I could see her thinking something like that if her candidate lost by 1 or 2 points. But when they lose by this kind of a margin, Kristie, you're not thinking straight. And as I've been watching Kristie Burke over the years, starting again with her Jezebel vibes, attacks on God, and now what she's turned into with her political stuff. I remember on an episode of Green Acres, which is still one of my favorite sitcoms, that a lawyer once called Oliver Douglas non compos mentis. And that term fits, in my opinion, it fits Kristie Burke to a T. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not even trying to play one. I am a truck driver. But nevertheless, based on what I have seen of Kristie Burke, non compos mentis is how I view her. And what exactly does that mean? It means not having full control of one's mind, not sane or rational. Is Kristie Burke acting in a rational manner when she goes around chalking sidewalks? I don't think so. Is Kristie Burke rational when she goes disrupting town hall meetings and says she has a constitutional right to be there because she has a constitutional right to free speech? I say no to that too. Is she rational and thinking straight when she thinks that she really represents a majority, but most just didn't show up to vote when her candidate lost 78.1 to 19.4? I do not consider her to be somebody who is thinking rational. And now she does want to run for Congress. And so anyway, I want to warn the people in Tennessee, District 1. The woman that I call the chalk warrior, Kristie Burke, I guess she wants to move up in the world. She wants you to elect her to represent your district. I guess so she can take her chalk and stop marking up Tennessee and then take her chalk up to Washington, D.C., where I guess she will mark up the Capitol building, or maybe she'll try to go up to the White House and chalk it. Who knows? But she wants you to send her up there so she can do more of that. She is clearly a progressive. She said so. She's an atheist in the Bible Belt, and she actually thinks she has a chance to win that election. If you happen to be in Tennessee District 1, I really don't see her as a serious threat to your representative, but you can't take any chances. And so I would highly recommend that if you don't want somebody who is really part of the loony left going to Washington representing you, because remember, you get one person in the House of Representatives to represent your district. You don't, in this kind of republic, a representative republic, our type of democracy isn't where every single citizen votes on everything. We elect somebody to vote for us. Now, if you want a loony leftist, that's Kristie Burke. But if you want somebody who is sane and who represents your values, you need to stick with the woman that is currently in that congressional district, Diana Harshbarger. I know if I lived there, that's who I would vote for. Hands down, it wouldn't even be close. But do I think that Kristie Burke could get the nomination in that district? Absolutely. Look at the party she represents. The Democratic Party has gone absolutely nuts. The people that she would, the 19% that she would represent in that district are probably as crazy or non-compos mentis as she is, as I see her. Again, I don't want to get into trouble with anybody saying that I have any real proof that she's crazy, but I'm just saying, look at the way she's been behaving. And I don't believe that a really sane woman would do that. As a person who is just an American citizen and a voter. A long time ago, I'm talking about back in the 80s, I was in a congressional district where we had a Democrat who was representing it. And they would have somebody come out and represent them, and they would let you meet with them if you wanted to, and you could discuss the issues that matter to you. And I did meet with that person who was representing a Democrat that I didn't like and didn't vote for. But I didn't go in there and get in their face. I didn't get kicked out of the office. I just simply discussed the things that I was concerned with him. And when it was all said and done, I shook hands and left. That's how I behaved when I was probably about 18 years old, talking to somebody who was representing my representative in Congress, somebody I did not support. I think that's the way you should do. You should be at least respectful when you meet with somebody and it's holding a high office. Kristie Burke was disruptive at a meeting and she got escorted out. That's just something you should just expect. So again, I think that her elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. That's my opinion of her. And so I wouldn't vote for her. I wouldn't vote for her to hold any office. She also doesn't represent Christian values. She doesn't represent anything good or decent about America. She's right on the opposite side of everything. Openly a progressive. So, and honestly, even though she has criticized her representative for having her escorted out, me personally, I think that if she was on the other foot, she'd do the same thing. I don't think she would be any more putting up with that kind of stuff than her current representative is. And if you go over to her comments, to her videos, I know for a fact I've left comments over there and they've been removed. And I've heard other people have done the same thing. So she is, she keeps talking all this free speech, but I've heard people say they got banned, nothing they post there will stay and whatever. She wants only people that are going to reinforce her beliefs, that are going to stand up for her. So why in the world would she think any different of a representative of Congress? Again, I don't think there's any chance she's going to win, but I am telling you this. If you live in Tennessee District 1 and Kristie Burke is running against your representative, you need to get out and make sure that woman does not end up winning. And really, let me say this to all Republicans, wherever you happen to be in the country. Get out and vote in November. Prove the Democrats wrong. They're all expecting to take control of the House of Representatives. That will not happen if you will come out and vote in large enough numbers. They will not win. Look at it like Donald Trump's on the ballot, because in a way he is. And we've got a lot of things that we need him to do over the next 2 years. So if you're a Republican in America, make sure that you show up and vote. And if you're in Tennessee District 1 and you want somebody who represents your district and who is sane, make sure you get out and vote for the Republican. Right now it's Diana Harshbarger. I expect she's going to be your person on the ballot. I from what I've seen of her, she seems like a very good member of Congress. If I lived in the district, I would have absolutely no reason not to support her wholeheartedly. But whether it be her or any Republican, they're better off. The worst Republicans are always better than the best Democrats in today's climate. And so if you're a Republican, make sure you get out and vote in November. If you're not a member of my channel, I want to invite you to become a subscriber, not a member. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I want to invite you to subscribe. And Lord willing, I'll be back soon with another Deconstructing Leftist program. Take care, everyone.